No, because what they're not telling you is you can actually achieve PMS free periods without hormonal birth control. You can actually balance your hormones, better yet, regulate your hormones without going gluten free, dairy free, refined sugar free, alcohol free, everything under the sun free. And today I'm going to share with you the three simple ways to actually approach this. But before we go any further, I want to introduce myself. My name's Barry. I'm a women's health coach and fertility awareness educator. I have been working in this space for the last 5 years. And one thing about me is I love trial and error. I'm somebody that will try it out myself, give it to my clients to try. And after 5 years, here's what we've concluded. There's three simple things that you can do in order to transform your period. Three simple things you can do to achieve happier hormones that are actually going to make you feel better rather than feel worse. So with that being said, let's get into the first one, which is stress less and live more. I'm somebody that wants to live a very full life, a legendary one, if I do say so myself. So with that being said, I really wanted to emphasize stressing less and living more. Like many of you, I've read the book, The Blue Zones. And one of the things I noticed is all of these people were enjoying their port wines. But what they did was they focused on living. They said, if it didn't matter 5 years from now, it doesn't matter 5 minutes from now. So emphasizing stressing less and living more. And I know you're thinking that's so simple, but hear me out. Stress often emits a hormone in our body called cortisol. It increases our cortisol. Have you heard of high cortisol? Yeah, high cortisol is also associated with low energy, fatigue, moodiness. I mean, you name it, high cortisol is probably associated with it. So when you are actually emphasizing stressing less and living more, you're getting your body out of the sympathetic nervous system and into the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is all about fight or flight, whereas the parasympathetic is all about resting and digesting. So that's why we emphasize living more and stressing less. The second guiding principle that we have is add rather than subtract. I will be honest with you. 5 years ago, when I started on my own journey, actually 6 years ago now, when I started on my period transformation journey, I simply just wanted to have a better period. Period. I did not want to deal with all the pain, the bloating, the fatigue. I didn't want to deal with any of it. So I challenged myself for 30 days to follow a very strict cycle supportive diet. At the end of that 30 days, yes, I had a much better period. I was so focused on following that I could not go to the grocery store without having my list in front of me. I could not order off a menu unless I knew exactly where I was in my cycle. And that caused a lot of stress and anxiety in my body. It caused a lot of cortisol to increase. And that in turn, obviously, was linking me back to more painful periods than I wanted. So over the last 2 years, I figured out a way to add the right foods in, to add the right habits in so I can still enjoy things from time to time. Whether I'm enjoying my espresso martini, whether we're having a little bit of a fromage moment, whether I'm doing some bubbly because I'm celebrating with my girls, right? I have figured out how to add rather than subtract. And that's something I love to encourage you to do on your journey. If you're really seeking to regulate your hormones, figure out how to add the right things in that are going to support your body actually processing things better. So, for instance, if you know you have a heavy bleed, or perhaps you're dealing with something like estrogen dominance, figure out how you can actively support your liver while also still living your life. Sometimes elimination does work, but you don't always have to eliminate things if you don't want to. Maybe you want to go out with your girls this weekend, have a nice cocktail, but you don't necessarily want to wake up the next morning hungover. Figure out if activated charcoal is something that you can add in because it can bind the toxins and help move them out of the bloodstream. So maybe you're feeling a little bit better the following morning and it's not as much of a blow to your hormonal regulation. The third tip that I love to give people is even in Eden. Now, one thing about me is I am a woman of faith, but I really believe that everything on this planet that was designed by God was designed as a tool for us to utilize. I don't know what they doing over in them labs, okay? The ultra processed food is really questionable. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you, right? So with that being said, we really emphasize even in Eden. So as you're going through the grocery store or as you're picking out your new makeup products and different things like that, ask yourself, did they have said ingredient ingredient in Eden. If not, it could be a little questionable. I'm not saying it's 100% questionable. I'm just saying that endocrine disruptors are really not helping us right now, especially if you're trying to get rid of a painful period, especially if you're trying to balance those hormones. We want to meet our bodies where they are and look at the organic compounds that are available for us to be using. And it's a simple question. Did they have it even in Eden? Like, if they didn't have it in Eden, should we be having it? That lab grown meat? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying. Because you have to realize that anything that is synthetically made, our body is going to find as kind of foreign. And then it's going to force our body to work harder to take it out, basically to eliminate, detoxify, take the trash out. So one of the guiding principles we try to utilize and really emphasize is just even and Eden. So I'm going to recap those 3 guiding principles for you. First is stress less, live more. Okay. We want you in your parasympathetic, not your sympathetic. We want you in rest and digest, not fight or flight. The second guiding principle is to add rather than subtract. Add in the right things that are going to help your body break down the things that maybe are not always the best for you. I mean, you could do a quick switch from like regular cheese to goat cheese, or you could just enjoy your favorite kind of cheese and know that like something such as papaya can help you actually break it down because of the digestive enzymes that are actually in papaya. And the third thing is to just make sure that it was available in Eden, even in the Garden of Eden. And if you're somebody who's like, that's too much for me, that's okay. At least use the first 2 principles. And if you enjoyed this, I would absolutely love to invite you to join my 8-week period boot camp. This is where you learn how to have a better period. Period. But we also really emphasize hormonal health and regulation. So if for whatever reason you've been at a plateau on your hormonal health journey, you've been doing everything under the sun to help you get rid of estrogen dominance, maybe help you get rid of high cortisol, and you really just need some support, the Period Bootcamp is definitely a program I would highly recommend you check out. You can find all of the information via the link I have sent you. As always, love you, mean it.